That action is best which procures the greatest happiness for the greatest numbers. These words, spoken almost 3 centuries ago, would echo through revolutions and reshape how humanity thinks about morality itself. The man who wrote them was Francis Hutcheson, an Irish philosopher who taught at the University of Glasgow from 1729 until his death in 1746. He was a founding father of the Scottish Enlightenment, teacher of Adam Smith, and one of history's most influential forgotten thinkers. His revolutionary idea that we are naturally good, and that this goodness could transform the world. In Hutcheson's time, the cynics ruled. Thomas Hobbes had declared humans fundamentally selfish. Bernard Mandeville argued that private vices produced public benefits, that greed was actually good for society. The world believed we needed punishment and reward to behave morally. Hutcheson looked at humanity and saw something radically different. Every human has implanted within him a benevolent instinct. It's neither learned through experience nor imposed by religion or law. It's simply there, implanted, as natural as breathing, as fundamental as sight. He developed a theory that revolutionized moral philosophy. Just as we have 5 external senses for experiencing the world, we also possess internal senses. One of these, perhaps the most important, is our moral sense. We are determined by a moral sense to approve certain affections and actions, he declared. The moral sense makes us perceive virtue as immediately pleasing. Think about what this means. When you witness an act of kindness, that warm feeling isn't society's conditioning. It's your moral sense, operating as naturally as your eyes register light. The moral sense operates with the same immediacy as the external senses. This wasn't wishful thinking. Hutcheson observed that even the wicked involuntarily approve benevolent conduct in others. Even those who act badly recognize goodness when they see it. They can't help themselves. The moral sense is universal, inescapable, undeniable. Compassion is an essential part of the human frame. You don't need philosophy books to teach you to feel for someone in pain. You just do. That's evidence of our fundamental moral nature. But Hutcheson didn't stop at describing this moral sense. He asked, what does it tell us? What is the content of morality? His answer was beautifully simple. Benevolence is the universal principle of virtuous action, not self-interest. Not duty enforced by threats of hell or promises of heaven. Pure, genuine benevolence, authentic care for the well-being of others. Virtue has its foundation in benevolent affection, not in self-love. This was radical. It meant that morality wasn't about calculation or obedience, it was about feeling. The perception of virtue is distinct from calculations of interest, he wrote. The moral faculty approves actions without regard to reward or punishment. When you help someone, truly help them, you're not thinking about what you'll get back. You're not weighing costs and benefits. You're acting from benevolence, and your moral sense approves immediately. One cannot call that action virtuous, which springs only from the fear of punishment. Hutcheson understood that authentic virtue comes from within, not from external pressure. There is in all men a desire to promote the happiness of others. This desire is as real as hunger or thirst. We are, at our deepest level, built for benevolence. But he also warned, the greatest source of moral evil is a contracted and selfish view. When we shrink our circle of care, when we think only of ourselves or our tribe, we violate our own nature. We become less than what we are. Hutcheson's genius lay in connecting the moral and the aesthetic. Just as the mind has a sense of beauty, as real as it has of color or taste, we also have a sense of moral beauty. And both point toward the same truth, harmony. Our ideas of beauty, arise from the harmonious adjustment of parts. A beautiful painting, a beautiful symphony, a beautiful mathematical proof, all display harmony, proportion, unity, and so does virtue. Beauty in nature reflects the wisdom and goodness of the Creator. The universe, in Hutcheson's view, is morally structured. When we act benevolently, we're aligning ourselves with this cosmic order. We're creating harmony rather than discord. We're adding to the beauty of existence itself. This wasn't abstract philosophy. It was a way of seeing the world. Truth is lovely to every mind not corrupted by prejudice. When we strip away our biases and defenses, we recognize truth and goodness with the same immediacy we recognize a sunset's beauty. Moral knowledge is not gained by abstract reasoning alone, but by an inward sense. You don't need elaborate logical proofs to know that kindness is good. You feel it. You know it. Your moral sense tells you. Hutcheson's philosophy had profound political implications. If humans are naturally benevolent, then society should be organized to cultivate and express that benevolence. Men are made for social life, not for solitary existence, he observed. We aren't isolated atoms competing for resources. We're social beings whose nature finds fullest expression in community and cooperation. This meant that government itself needed to be reimagined. Political power is a trust which must be exercised for the benefit of the governed, not for the glory of kings, not for the profit of elites, for the people. A just government must aim at the common good of all its members. And what is that common good? Public happiness is the end of civil society. Everything else, tradition, authority, custom, is secondary to human happiness and flourishing. A free state is one in which the laws are designed for the good of the whole people. Freedom isn't just the absence of tyranny, it's the presence of conditions that allow benevolence to flourish. Liberty consists in acting according to one's own choice and judgment. And here, Hutcheson made his most revolutionary political claim. No man may be the property of another, for all men are naturally equal. In an age of slavery and rigid hierarchies, he insisted on fundamental human equality. The rights of men arise from their nature as rational and sociable beings. These weren't just ideas, they were seeds of revolution, planted in the minds of students who would shape the American founding and beyond. If we're naturally good, what role does education play? Hutcheson had a clear answer. Education should cultivate the benevolent affections above all others. Not memorization, not obedience, not even brilliance, the cultivation of benevolence. Why? Because without benevolence, even the greatest abilities may be pernicious. Intelligence without compassion is dangerous. Power without goodness is tyranny. Success without benevolence is corruption. The desire of esteem is natural, and when regulated, greatly contributes to virtue. We want to be seen as good. This isn't vanity. It's evidence of our moral nature seeking social expression. Education should channel this desire toward genuine virtue, not mere reputation. The goal isn't to create calculating creatures who do good for reward. It's to strengthen what's already there, to clear away the contracted and selfish view and reveal the benevolent instinct at our core. Francis Hutcheson died in 1746, but his ideas never did. They flowed through Adam Smith into economics, through Jeremy Bentham into utilitarianism, through Thomas Jefferson into the Declaration of Independence, yet somehow the source was forgotten while the streams were remembered. Perhaps that's fitting. Hutcheson cared about truth, not credit. He believed in the power of ideas to transform the world, regardless of who gets the acclaim. His central insight remains as radical today as it was 3 centuries ago. We are good, not perfectly good, not unfailingly good, but fundamentally, naturally, undeniably good. Compassion is an essential part of the human frame. In an age of cynicism and division, that's not naivety, it's neuroscience, mirror neurons, empathy, altruism. Modern science keeps rediscovering what Hutcheson intuited. Benevolence is wired into us. Even the wicked involuntarily approve benevolent conduct in others. Deep down, we all know what goodness looks like. We recognize it. We're moved by it. We aspire to it. The question isn't whether we have this moral sense. The question is whether we'll listen to it. That action is best which procures the greatest happiness for the greatest numbers. Not my happiness, not my tribe's happiness. The greatest happiness for the greatest numbers. That's the North Star Hutcheson gave us. In our polarized world, where cynicism masquerades as sophistication and selfishness masquerades as realism, maybe we need Hutcheson's voice again. Maybe we need to remember that benevolence isn't weakness. It's our deepest strength. Benevolence is the universal principle of virtuous action. Not cruelty, not indifference, not calculation. Benevolence. That's what we're made for. That's who we are. Francis Hutcheson believed in us. The question is, do we believe in ourselves? I'm grateful for the moments shared in discourse. May our paths cross again in the fullness of time.